Have you ever wanted to be a private eye working in post-World War II America? In Los Angeles, as a matter of fact, where the starlets are seedy, the cops are corrupt, and occasionally you have to deal with menacing mobsters. If so, Chronicles of Crime, Noir is something you need to take a look at. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dice Odyssey. I'm Kaz, and today we're going to be looking at the first expansion to Chronicles of Crime, Noir. Now, Chronicles of Crime, I'll just go ahead and put it out there at the front, is one of my all-time favorite games. Matter of fact, I think it's still in my top 10. We did a video on that several months back. But I love the idea of it. I love the idea of being like, you know, a gumshoe or just, you know, a detective. And the fact that the app works so seamlessly with the game, it's amazing. You can go back and watch our review of it. We even did a funny little skit, just kind of detailing what we thought about the game, just having fun with it, you know. But anyway, in this game, you're actually taking place, it feels like the 40s, but basically on the back of the box says the 50s. There's not a huge amount of difference between those two time periods in terms of, you know, the setting and things. But anyway, you're a gumshoe named Sam Spader, and you're basically going around and solving crimes in that setting. And most of the time you're dealing with Hollywood and Los Angeles, and you're just going around solving crimes, and you're having to sometimes break into places, you're having to, you know, maybe possibly bribe cops and whoever else. And so it's a little bit different than the Chronicles of Crime base game, because that way you had like your forensic expert and everything else. This one's got some new kinds of actions. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get it over the table, just kind of give you a little bit of what it's looking like in the game, because we kind of show you what the game looks like originally in the actual base game review we did, and we'll come back with my final thoughts. All right, so this is what you're basically getting in the package. You got a bunch of different new locations, including the Private Eye's office, Sam Spader, a bunch of different places that you can actually go and visit. As you can see, looks like a set, right, with video camera and things of that nature. There's a lot of cool places to go visit, and you also have a bunch of new people that are in this game, and the artwork is actually quite phenomenal. It's a bit more realistic looking than the original game. I really like that, again, that 40s, 50s look. That old camera. I mean, look at that guy. I'll let you guess what he might be doing, so, you know. And yeah, look at that. I mean, everything in here screams like gangster. That dude looks like the Penguin. He just straight up looks like the Penguin. All right. So yeah, a lot of different people. And funny enough, some of them have resemblances to old movie stars even. At least they have some resemblances to them. So who do you think that is? So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much what you're getting in terms of new characters, new artwork in that way. There's a ton of them in there. Oh, she was on Titanic. Look at there. And then you got a bunch of new like clue cards and things of that nature. And as you can see, all these different cards have hats, and so many of these can be mixed in with the original game's stuff. Now these can't, because the artworks are different and they go for different scenarios, but these particularly you can mix in with the old clue cards, which is really cool. Maltese Falcon, that's what that reminds me of. So now the key thing here is going to be the 4 new abilities that you get. Okay, you can do anything from bribe. You can smack somebody around. You can actually break in to, you know, offices and buildings and things of that nature. You can be a peeping Tom. I'm kidding. You can actually spy on people. And so you have to choose out of these, you know, when you're questioning people or you arrive at a place and, you know, the events happen the way they happen, you got to choose what might be a good option to use when it comes to the actions. This is where the game seriously deviates from the original game, in which you had like a hacker, you had a scientist, you had all these things to help you out that you could call, all these people that could help you. In this, you're specifically taking direct actions at times that you've got to decide whether or not they're going to be a good idea to use, because they might not always be. Hear the music. It's got that real like 40s, 50s vibe to it. Pretty, isn't it? So that's pretty much the game, the new game that's coming out of this. You are a private detective and you go through that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get back to my final thoughts. So what did I think of Noir? Oh man, absolutely loved it. And granted, I've got a little bias going in just because I like the original base game, but that doesn't matter if the expansion's not fun, right? In terms of the actual expansion, I'm gonna go into my pros and cons, and then I'm gonna get back to my final rating on it, whether or not I approve of it, and should you think about possibly getting it. The pros. Artwork, phenomenal. I really love the style of artwork they put on each card. It's definitely a little bit more realistic looking than it was in the original Chronicles of Crime base game, and I like that. I appreciate that they're trying to change it up just enough to make it different and fun, and the fact that it doesn't look like it melds perfectly together with the original base game set. I also like the idea that you're able to take some of the base game cards and you can mix them in with what you have in the expansion. Not everything, but they're adding basically new actions, new evidence cards and things of that nature. Another positive of the scenarios, I wanted to review this after I played at least some of them. And I didn't play all of them yet, but I did play some of them to get the grasp on how the game's feeling. And the fact that you're dealing with, well, like in the original game, dealing with murder cases, but you're going to solve them in different ways than you would in the base game original. You might be bribing a cop. You might have to slap somebody around a little bit who's being difficult with you. But the thing is, you could get the negative end of that. It may not be the best thing for you to do, go slap somebody around if they're being difficult with you, because they could launch on you, especially if it's a mobster. I'm not going to go into it. But the other thing I was finding is that without spoiling too much, it is possible to die in this. I don't remember dying in the base game, So there is a possibility of that happening, and I didn't see that coming. That was interesting. So yeah, it definitely feels slightly more gamery, in my opinion, than even in the base game because of those new actions that you have. And it's funny because you have that extra money that you're able to gain from people either trying to bribe you, or you start off with money on different scenarios, and you're able to use that for bribes and things. And so the new actions were really cool, and I loved the fact that the new setting makes those actions work, because in that time you were dealing with a lot more of a different style of setting than the original base game. Now, another pro was that jazzy style, bluesy style music that it just drew you more and more into that setting. And I'm a musician as it is, and so I appreciate the tonalities that I was listening to, all the different tonal effects, and just love it, the saxophone and things of that nature. So the music was a huge plus, okay? Drew me in even more deeply. Another pro was the stories. The stories were very well written. The dialogue was actually fairly well written, and I was engaged the entire time, so that's a huge pro on that end. Are there any cons? Well, again, some of this is going to be a little subjective, right? But I think that if you're thinking about letting your kids play this, again, they don't suggest doing that. It's for definitely adults more than anything. There's some language, and there's some, just like in the original game, I wouldn't play this with my kids. Possible con, but it's not, it goes back to my first con. It's not really a con so much as it is a reality, okay? So this might be a con for some people, but for me, it's history, and we're dealing with it, and you have to walk it through. There are some things that come up in these stories that it just portrays people in a certain light that you may not like, okay? And I don't want to give away too much, but the fact is that in this time frame, they even talk about it in the book, in this time frame, they're trying to be as realistic and as close to what really the style of things that happen in this time frame as they possibly could. And so, you've got some really, really serious adult themes and serious portrayals of some people that don't cast them in the negative light, or don't cast them in the best of lights, And so just know that going in, that they're trying to be historically accurate, and I understand that. So for me, that gets a pass. But again, understand you may not like some of that going in, but if you bought into this and you read about it, you kind of got the warning beforehand, so that's on you. If you went ahead and bought this, and if you didn't do the research, you get my point. So this is an amazing expansion. If you like Chronicles of Crime, I mean, I was almost predisposed to like this anyway. Again, if the expansion sucked, I would tell you. I don't think it sucked. I think it had a lot in there, juicy stories, some really cool twists and turns. I really like the fact they threw the red herrings occasionally. All these things are still in there like they were in the base game. The fact that this system can be done anywhere and in any time frame. You know what I mean? That's the thing I'm loving about it. And it's one of the few games I'll play not only with people, but also solo. And I'm not a massive solo gamer, so if you're a fan of being a solo gamer, you're bread and butter. I want something set in space, futuristic. I want all sorts of fun things, and this system can give it to you. You know what I mean? I love it. It reminds me a little bit of Time Stories in that regard, and that's why I love it. So, and I'm a huge fan of Time Stories. Lucky Duck Games just keeps knocking it out of the park for me. They're becoming one of my all-time favorite companies right now. Several of their games I've really enjoyed in the past couple of years. So anyway, that's all for me. Thank you so much for watching the Dice Odyssey videos. You have a blessed day, and game away. This video is brought to you by Fallen Dominion Studios. Check out their website at fallendominionstudios.com.